At the family party, laughter and chatter filled the air, and everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves. But little did I know that behind the noise and the cheerful smiles, something unthinkable was happening to my daughter. When I found her tucked away in one of the rooms, I froze in horror. Her beautiful hair, the hair she had been growing for years, was gone. Her head had been shaved completely bald, and she stood there trembling, her eyes red from crying. My heart dropped into my stomach as I struggled to process what I was seeing. Then I heard it, the sound of my sister laughing, her voice sharp and mocking as she called out that it was just a joke. A joke. As if humiliating my child in front of our own family, robbing her of something so personal and precious, could ever be brushed off as harmless. In that moment, rage and disbelief collided inside me. But before I could even confront her, my daughter ran into my arms, burying her face against my chest. Her sobs tore through me. I wanted to protect her, shield her from the cruelty of what had been done, but I was also reeling with betrayal. My sister, the same person I had trusted with my family countless times, had crossed a line so vicious it left me speechless. As the party continued in the background, laughter spilling over from the other rooms, I stood frozen, trying to comprehend how anyone, especially my own blood, could think this was amusing. The more I thought about it, the more the situation grew unbearable. My sister had always had a streak of jealousy, little digs and petty remarks about how my daughter had inherited my long hair and striking looks, something she herself never had. I brushed those comments off in the past, never thinking they'd turn into something this cruel. But that day it became clear, this wasn't a prank. It was deliberate humiliation. My daughter's tears weren't just about losing her hair. They were about the deep wound of knowing someone she considered family had done this to her. I carried her out of that room, holding her tight as if I could erase the damage, while my sister stood behind me laughing, repeating over and over that I was being too sensitive. The days that followed were some of the hardest we had ever faced. My daughter couldn't bring herself to go to school. She didn't want to face her friends, didn't want to answer questions about what happened. I watched her confidence crumble as she avoided mirrors and hid under hats and scarves. At night, she cried herself to sleep, whispering that she didn't understand why her aunt would do something so mean to her. It broke me. Each tear was like a knife to my heart, and the anger in me grew with every passing day. People told me to let it go, that families shouldn't fight over petty things, but there was nothing petty about destroying a child's sense of safety and dignity. Slowly, my resolve hardened. My sister thought she had gotten away with it, that her laughter and dismissal would silence me, but she underestimated how far a mother will go when her child has been hurt. I began speaking to the rest of the family, one by one, telling them what had happened, showing them the pictures I had taken of my daughter that night, the pain etched in her face. At first, some brushed it off as drama, but when they saw the raw emotion in my daughter's eyes, their attitudes shifted. The whispers started, and the truth spread. My sister's reputation, once untouchable, began to crack. Still, it wasn't enough. I couldn't erase the memory of my daughter's sobs, or the way she shrank into herself every time someone mentioned hair. I knew I had to do something more. My sister had taken something from my child that could not simply grow back overnight. Her confidence, her joy, her trust. I began documenting everything, keeping a record of every cruel word, every past slight, and especially this unforgivable act. When my sister applied for a position at a local school, one that required references and a strong reputation in the community, I made sure the truth surfaced. Parents and teachers learned what she had done, and suddenly, the laughter she once flaunted turned into whispers of disgust behind her back. The climax of it all came months later at another family gathering. This time, people didn't flock to her side with adoration. They kept their distance, their eyes filled with quiet judgment. My sister, once so loud and confident, looked smaller, her smile strained. And when she tried to laugh it off again, calling the past incident harmless, the silence that followed was deafening. For the first time, she realized she was alone. My daughter, standing beside me with her hair just beginning to grow back, saw it too. She looked at me, and for the first time in months, there was a glimmer of peace in her eyes. The resolution was not about revenge in the fiery sense, but about justice in a way that restored balance. My sister lost her credibility, her respect, and the power she once wielded with her mocking laughter. My daughter, though scarred by the experience, grew stronger. She learned that sometimes the people closest to you can betray you, but she also learned the importance of standing tall, even when others try to tear you down. And I, as her mother, learned that protecting your child sometimes means taking a stand against your own blood, no matter the consequences. Looking back, I can still feel the sting of that night. The image of my daughter's shaved head and broken spirit seared into my memory. But I also remember the strength that grew from it, the bond between us that only deepened. My sister thought it was a joke. She thought she could humiliate us and move on. But what she did instead was reveal her own cruelty to the world, and remind me that a mother's love is not something to be mocked. It is unshakable, it is fierce, and it will always rise to protect. And maybe the lesson for anyone who hears this story is simple. Jokes that come at the expense of someone's dignity are never jokes at all. They are wounds, and sometimes, those wounds heal into scars that speak louder than any laughter ever could.